Hey crypto bros, hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are and you're enjoying the current state of the market. We're going to talk about the CPI data, what it means for Bitcoin overall. We're going to cover the regulation aspect and whether regulation is actually taking full force in regards to the market movement. We're going to talk about Zen, whether Zen is actually on the chopping block to go a lot lower, or have we actually formed a double bottom where Zenians can actually start going up from here. So let's go ahead and cover some of this data here. So we have this orange line, which is the Fed fund rate, which is sitting around the 5.06 at the moment. The blue line that you guys actually see here is the CPI inflation number, which is sitting around 4.20. Now, based off of this, the CPI data came in a lot lower than expected. They were expecting 4.1. It came in around 4.0, which is very good, very bullish for Bitcoin, because lower inflation means great for Bitcoin overall, meaning that the rates that are currently being applied are having an effect on the market. And this means that Bitcoin and risk-on assets have an opportunity to actually start going up from here. The reason being is because most likely the Fed is going to step back a bit, look at the rates, see how they're affecting the overall markets, and say and reassess, okay, maybe the rates are actually working. We need to back off a little bit. So if they stop raising interest rates, that spells very good overall for Bitcoin and risk on assets to continue going on up. However, if they come out and start raising rates, it's not good for risk on assets. Just the gist of it from here. But we can see that this orange line here crossed the blue, which is again the CPI data. And this hasn't actually occurred since, this hasn't occurred since all the way of 2017. Now, looking at this data and smacking a Bitcoin price chart on here, we can get some actual signs of what's going to be happening overall. So let's take a look at this, for example. So we can see that we don't have much data to base off of. There's only one iteration off of this. So take what you will with this. It's not financial advice. But let's look at what happened historically here back in 2017. So we saw the actual Fed fund rate, the orange line, surpass the inflation number here. So we're going to mark it off with a vertical line here. What that started to do is basically started to putting in a close stop on Bitcoin. Now, when the actual rate crossed below the actual blue line, which is the CPI number here, so when that actually fell below it, we can see that Bitcoin started beginning its rise up in that bull market. Now, does that mean, as we can see in the price of Bitcoin, is that it's starting to basically try to take a nosedive? It's trying to basically turn northbound. So what we're seeing here is that what we want to see, right? What we want to see in this case is that this orange line actually crossed below, and this blue CPI data to actually cross up, because it'll spell very well overall for risk on asset, and Bitcoin can actually start going up from here. Now, if that's not the case, if the rates actually continue to actually go up in this case, and the inflation number actually goes down, then you can start to see Bitcoin actually come down as well too, maybe retest the lows that we had around November, December-ish, guys. So this, again, depending on how this actually plays out, how hawkish the Fed comes out and says, okay, we're going to need to raise rates again, it all depends on what the Fed actually goes forward. But with this data, what we saw, again, the CPI numbers coming a lot lower, the bulls do have an opportunity here, do have the ball in their court to actually start moving up here, which is good. We can start moving up, maybe turning the price of Bitcoin back up again. However, why I think this is not the case is because of regulation, guys. Regulation right now is taking full force frontal attack in regards to the whole overall crypto market. Now, it's specifically negative for the altcoin market, not specifically for Bitcoin, because again, the SEC, Gary, has come out multiple times and indicate to us that Bitcoin is safe overall, and that the altcoins is what he's mostly concerned about, and whether or not they're tradable securities. Now, there was some news that came out with the case of XRP. There was some emails that, saying, again, there's some movement happening with that case with XRP, which could spell very bullish overall for the market. What we want to see, again, that XRP wins this case, it spells very good for the overall crypto space. It spells very well for overall altcoins. Now, there is a bill being drafted to basically sack Gary Gensler and getting him out of there. And this is actually good news. So you have, again, CPI data coming in a lot lower. You have the news of Gary Gensler basically has a chance of getting sacked. So the bulls do have the ball in their court to start moving Bitcoin up. But regulation, again, Gary is fully attacking the Bitcoin space. He's attacking the altcoin market. And that's why I think overall why the price of Bitcoin is not reacting as bullish as it needs to. Again, we're seeing Bitcoin is sitting around of prices of $25,000, $26,000. So it's hovering around that region. We're currently seeing it, again, sitting around 25,800. So not too bullish overall for Bitcoin. Again, we wanted to see Bitcoin sitting around 26,300. That was the area, the key target of support structure we wanted to see on the higher time frames to basically close above. So let's see how this actual week closes out, because it's important for, again, that CPI came in a lot lower and that there's this big news that, again, Gary Gensler could be basically sacked. Now, whether this bill passes through, it has to go through, again, Congress, and it has to go through a lot of court proceedings before actually it can, proceed from there. But again, that's basically what's happening there. Let's take a look at the Zen price and what's going on and whether or not Zen is actually reaching a bottom. So just some news to cover. Again, Vmpx, again, is going to have utility on BRC20, which is very bullish overall. It's going to bring a lot of user utility, again, into the Bitcoin space and what we've been discussing in the past couple of weeks with the Bitcoin dominance taking head force in regards to the overall market. And that's why you want to basically be diversified into Bitcoin, the big macro cap coins like Ethereum and Bitcoin. But let's take a look. Let's go back into history of the Zen chart. We can see that we had this very massive move coming in around 1,300%. And then once we were at the top of this, the peak of this, we had some resistance coming in around this area. Now, something happened in regards to the Zen price. We've been discussing this. Zen was listed on a few exchanges and it had the ability for people to actually go in and short Zen. Now, you have future mint supplies coming out. You have people basically minting. They're selling it on the market. So there's a lot of sell pressure that's coming into this particular assets. People are also shorting it. So there's a lot of sell pressure coming into the Zen ecosystem. However, that doesn't mean it's all bad and it's all, gloomy overall for, the Zenians. Let's take a look if Zen actually does have a chance here. So we can see this particular trend line that I actually drew here. Every time we're coming into this particular trend line, we are seeing sellers come into the market and basically sell off this particular asset. However, something special actually happened here where we broke away from this particular trend line and we actually fell below it. So we tried breaking above it, tried staying above that 21-day moving average on the daily. We couldn't find it as support. The next candle basically just completely wiped out whatever that actually happened in this particular move and came back to retest this support structure. Why is this so important? Is because we're actually trying to form a double bottom in this area, guys. Okay, we've been discussing this in the past couple of weeks. We were saying that look out for a double bottom situation for Zen. Now, if this double bottom doesn't actually hold, then you're retracing 100% of this particular move. So coming all the way from here, if you were to take your measurements, you're coming back 100% of this particular, movement. Now, that you don't want to actually see that happen, but again, it is what it is there. And if you were to take your fib extrapolation point, take it from the swing high to the, swing low to swing high, we can see that our support structure is sitting around the 786. I wouldn't hold too much confluence in the 886 area. If we were to come below that, I think we will be retracing, 100% of this move and actually even go a lot lower from here. But we do have an opportunity for Zenians to actually start moving us up, because we have a lot of news of DB's NFTs basically taking off some of that future supply off. And we have a bit of a support confluence in this area. There's not much of a confluence in this area of the 886. Again, we're going to fall 100% back of this particular asset. Now, what we want to see is, you can see here, if we actually go on the 4 hourly, we'll give you a little bit detail. I'll show you just a little bit of information based off of this. Let's just remove some of this drawings here, just so that it doesn't get too convoluted here. So we can see that every time Zen tried, in some case, to put in a higher low, again, putting in the higher low, it was met by that 55-day moving average, and then it just became a lower high in this case. So just put in a lower high. Same situation here. We tried putting in, again, came in with that higher low, tried to sticking above that 55-day moving average, again, acting as resistance, just became another lower high. So every time it's coming in, chopping block, and then finally we're coming to this particular support structure, coming back, retesting it as support, confirming that this is a very nice area for all Zenians to agree on to actually start moving up from here. Again, what's happening on the daily? We popped above the 21-day moving average. Most likely what I'm seeing here going forward into this, okay, guys, if we don't drop below this double bottom here and we're tracing 100%, what could be happening is that this 55-day moving average comes down like this over time. This is a moving indicator. It's a lagging indicator, but eventually it'll come down like this, and then price action will consolidate a bit, put in a higher low, and then, you know, you're going to be met with that 55-day moving average in that case. Okay, so we're going to be retesting. We're going to be testing that 55-day moving average on the daily, most likely, once it starts to come down. Again, we want to close above that. Again, this is also going to trail down, so we want to close above it so that we can actually get that cross. Okay, we can get that cross that we need eventually for Zenians to gather that momentum to push us higher on the higher time frame and get that higher low and higher high structure from there. Again, that's basically what's happening, what I'm seeing on the Zen chart. If you enjoy content like this, guys, consider subscribing if you are brand new here. Follow me on Twitter. I do make trade calls, so if you do want to get in, increase your capital, your portfolio for the long term, you can definitely do that. So there's a lot happening in the crypto space, so you want to tune and follow me on Twitter as well too. We're also seeing Vitalik again come out in a blog post saying that Ethereum basically needs to scale. We need to bring in more privacy, and we need to be better overall in order to be handling user adoption at a bigger use case, right? And I think this is good, because without privacy, guys, I think the crypto space is doomed. Yes, it's an open public ledger, because at the end of the day, things need to be transparent, but you also need privacy to have your freedoms overall. So I'll leave you off with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Until next time, bros, as always, stay profitable.